Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. I'm just following this down. This is an evaluation. It's a penguin style trade, so that should work. Little bounce.
Target filled.
Beautiful. Okay, so hope everyone is well. So I just took a quick trade on a take profit trader evaluation. That was an absolute beauty penguin style trade. We got a clear leg down, two clear legs up, and a strong move down that EMA. I got in there. That was where I'd have normally got out, but I thought it was worth pushing it at least below there. So it just worked beautifully, that one. So it's a shame. I've got four of them. It's a shame I only did it on one of them because I'm up like $1,300 on that one. So it worked well, that did. Karina, how are you doing? How are you doing? So let me just set this up a minute. I'm just gonna, you'll see my thing will shut down a minute. Let me just check everything's closed. Yeah, it has. I've got to do this now because I can't open Rhythmic for some reason, but I'm on the Rhythmic website. You can actually close it there or on the web. So I've got to do that now every time I take a trade, which means it disconnects from Rhythmic, so I can just reconnect it. Bear me a second. This will reconnect it. Which is a bit of a pain in the arse, but there you go. So worked beautifully, that. So let me just set my setup up now. So if I go with that one contract, and then what account is that? It's 1100. So 1100 pre-allocated. So so they're all one. Excuse me a sec. So I better not trade that account again, actually. What account was that? It's up a bit much. 70. Bear me a second. So that one. I'm just going to trade those at 3 contracts, I think. Okay. Let me just make sure everything's opening like it should.
Order submitted.
Why has that done that? Oh, did this again the other day. I don't know what's going on here. It's only letting me trade one of my Tradeify accounts.
Order cancelled.
101. Bear me a sec, guys.
Order submitted.
Can't be submitted. Rejected. Why? Do you know what? I've this software issues lately, and it's just getting on my nerves.
Order cancelled. Order submitted.
Yeah, it'll only let me trade one of my...
Order cancelled.
Okay, looks like I'm just trading my Tradeify accounts today then. That's a pain. 76. It's that one. So 76. So let's go with 3 contracts. Excuse me a second. Pre-allocated. Let me just check
Order
this
submitted.
works. Kidding me. What's going on here?
Order cancelled.
Take profit trader. Sorry, I should have done all this. Take profit trader. Count 76. Right, I got you.
Order submitted.
Okay, so I'm just trading my take profit trader accounts at the
Order
moment. For
cancelled.
some reason, I did something on my Guardian Angel trader. I did it last week, and it would only let me trade one at a time. So it's a bit of a pain. So take profit trader accounts. I'm just trading those today. For some reason, it's not letting me trade my accounts. I can trade them individually, my Tradeify accounts. But for some reason, not all of them.
Order
I did
submitted.
something on Guardian Angel Trader. Trouble is, I can't
Order
get into
cancelled.
Guardian Angel Trader now. It won't let me in at the moment. It's locked out. So I don't know how you guys are finding things at the moment. For some reason, I cannot open Rhythmic. It will not stay open. It opens for a second and shuts down. So what I've had to do was to get the web version of it. So at the end of every trade, now bearing in mind I've got 4 take profit trader accounts, and I've got 5 Tradeify accounts. So the 5 Tradeify accounts I've got on Tradeivate. And these now, part of the reason why I like Rhythmic, although I can't get in, the trouble is Guardian Angel Trader, you got no issues here. Yeah, strange. Someone else mentioned yesterday they couldn't get in. Forget who it was. The trouble is, I've got my 5 accounts with Tradeivate, and the reason I keep this up so I can close and make sure all positions are closed, which you have to do with Rhythmic, because on the rare occasion it closes down in NinjaTrader, but it doesn't close down in either Tradeivate or Rhythmic. The only downside to this is I've got Guardian Angel Trader. Now there's a button in Guardian Angel Trader that won't let me make a trade on Rhythmic, but I could just click buy or sell here, regardless of whether I'm locked out on Guardian Angel Trader. So it's a bit of a flaw there, unfortunately. Now I'm relying on the fact that I'm not going to do it. But I kind of tempted a trade here. Channel down the break. I'm going to see if we get another shorty. Which is a bit frustrating. You know, obviously I paid $300 to Guardian Angel Trader to stop me should the worst happen. I'm okay at the moment, but I still have moments of weakness. And the trouble is, I can't do anything on Rhythmic, but I could open and close a trade on Tradeivate, even if I've taken my loss for the day, which is a bit frustrating. So what I decided to do was to put the Tradeivate, the take profit trader accounts back onto Rhythmic, even though I can't get into Rhythmic, but I can close them on the web. So if I click sign in here, obviously I can go into them and shut them down there. The only slight downside is it disconnects Rhythmic from here, whereas the Rhythmic app, if you have the Rhythmic app, you can have it running in the background and obviously just keep an eye on it, so you don't necessarily have to do this. You trade. Yeah, the trouble is, Karina, if let's say, for instance, I've got this down to 1 loss on my Tradeify accounts. I don't take losses very well at the moment, so I figure the best thing to do is if I take a loss, then I'm done for the day. Maybe as I do go on to me take profit trader accounts or something like that. Now, even if I'm blocked out by Guardian Angel Trader, there's nothing stopping me hitting the buy or sell button and trading them in here. So it's a bit of a pain in the arse. So I did message one of the guys from Guardian Angel Trader, and he said no, they don't have it for this. They only have it for Rhythmic, which is kind of just, it's a bit of a pain in the arse. I like to have it just in case the worst happened. But what can you do? So let's have a look. So Armanas, how you doing, bud? Karina, good morning to you. Jay, how you doing? Yeah, it's a bit of a pain. But what can you do? What can you do? So let me see if there is any type of a bigger channel down here. It might be a bit early. My guess is it looks like it's working its way down to test these lows. There's probably a lot of liquidity there. The trouble is sometimes when we open like this and push up, often that's the low of the day. But we've got the low of the day here, which broke yesterday's low. So whether it'll get down here or whether it'll move up, it's hard to say at the moment. But I'd say there's a strong bull bar there and a strong higher low and a failure. So I'll be surprised if it gets down here. You can have settings in Tradeovate daily loss limit. Can you really? I might have to look into that. I might give you a message later on this evening, Karina, and ask you out to talk me through it. News at 10. I've got no news. The only news I've got is the 2:30 news. Let me just check. Another problem I'm having is with the news app as well. It keeps freezing up for some reason. I'm showing nothing, so I don't know what it is, Sam, you've got coming up, mate. I'm not sure, bud. Is there any way in Tradeovate you could lock it so that if you take one loss, I'm going to have to look into that, aren't I? So there's obviously something that we can do in Tradeovate, which is good, really. The trouble is, it is a bit of a pain having some on Rhythmic and some of in Tradeovate, because on my screen over here, I've got this and I've got this. So I've got to make sure when a trade closes down, there's no positions open here, and I've got to sign into Rhythmic and make sure there's no positions open in Rhythmic, which is a absolute pain in the arse. But what can you do? Oh, it's tomorrow, is it, bud? Yeah, no worries. But yeah, it's an absolute pain in the arse, but there's nothing I can do about it. That's why, that's kind of why I wanted it either all in Tradeovate or all in Rhythmic. But when half and half, it's a bit of a pain, but what can you do? Okay, so there is a couple of legs up here. Is this going to come down? It's a tough one, isn't it? Bastian, how you doing, buddy? I think you really need to reload my data. I did do it, but I'll do it again. See if it looks any different. It is loading. Does it look any different? It does a bit, doesn't it, I think? Is that any better, bud, is it? So, that's better, is it? Good on you, mate. Okay. I think this just seemed to be a bit tough lately for some reason, and I'm not quite sure why. Rhythmic not working and that. I did message Rhythmic and they got back to me and said, try this, try that. And then they said they were going to send the information to the developers and get back to me. That was 3 weeks ago and they haven't. So I've messaged them again and I'm just getting nothing. So I don't know what's going on. I'm sure someone mentioned yesterday that they can't get into Rhythmic. I did get a message from a company, Affordable Indicators. I might see they do a trade copier and something else. I might see if they have something. So we got a leg up and a leg up. So let's see what happens here. I'm going to put that just there for now and move this up here so the bottom fits. So 2 legs up in a bearish bar. We've got a channel to break a new high. Now I'm going to wait for a lower high here. I don't want to get into it now. Bearing in mind, I'm trading my my take profit trader accounts at the moment. I can't trade my others, so these are Sims, but with the obviously opportunity to go straight onto funded. You'd have to pay anything extra, so I think they cost me about $102 each. So you've got to be a little bit careful with them. So we did seem to get reaction there, but it's kind of sideways as well, so I've got mixed feelings of whether this is a channel or it's sideways. Yeah, Thomas Wade has got this sideways, in which case this could come back and push up. In fact, he's got both there. He's got that one there, which kind of looks okay, and he's got that one, which is kind of sideways. So I got mixed feelings about that. So it does look like it's pushing down, but sometimes it gives you that impression and then pushes up. So if this is sideways, it could go up. So if we get a lower high, which traps that bull bar, I may have a go short, but I have a sneaking suspicion that this may go up. In other words, more of a range. Yeah, Thomas Wade said he thinks it's more sideways, so he's deleted the downtrend. He may be right. Depends what happens here. Yeah. I think he's more right, isn't he? Right in the middle of the 15-minute orb here. Are you doing that, are you, bud? I like the idea of that. What's it seems to do well. Mind you, took a battering yesterday, didn't he? Yeah, I think this is more just watching it, yeah. I got to say I was a bit frustrated yesterday. Yeah. I was a bit frustrated yesterday. That second trade I took. Where was it? That one there. I don't know how you can see. At the end of the day, Mac had it marked like that. Well, there's no way you could mark that there when all you've got is 2 little legs back there. So I don't know how people can say. I know Dan said yesterday, keep in mind, it's a wider channel. Now, when you haven't got this, how can you say that's a wider channel there? If that had come down for 20 points, I guarantee Mac would have marked it. That's what frustrates me sometimes. He actually took that trade as well, which I thought was just, how the hell can you go long there? It's too far from that EMA. Where's the difference between that second entry long and that second entry short? There's no difference. In fact, that's actually hugging the EMA. There's more chance of that working, but he marked that one. That's what frustrates me about Mac. I think he's an absolute gentleman, but he kind of misses something. He's missing something. And it's just frustrating me. I know he doesn't mean it. He obviously doesn't intend it, but it does frustrate you, I've got to say. Yeah, it is. The trouble is, if I open yesterday's charts, of course I can mark loads of trades. I can mark that because it worked. I can not mark that because it didn't work. But in real time, see, if Mac genuinely saw a dozen high probability trades a day, he'd be mad not to take them. And that's the bit that just winds me up sometimes. I know he doesn't do it on purpose, but that to me is a clear small second entry. I think he marked that one or marked that one. I mean, you could argue that there's a channel up there. So it frustrates me a little, I'm going to say, because usually I'll leave stuff like that for some reason. I'll think, I don't know, but if it came down here for another 10 points, a guaranteed market. Now, it's either a high probability setup or it's not. It can't be a high probability setup because it works and then not a high probability setup because it doesn't work. It either is or it isn't. Sorry if I moan a bit at the moment. I'm just a bit frustrated lately. The market seems to be quite sneaky. I know it's not. I know it kind of is what it is, but things are getting to me a little bit lately. I think it's probably because I had 5 months of consistent payouts and I've earned nothing for the last month and a half. It's part of trading, isn't it? I think what happened is I got quite comfortable with getting paid every month, and maybe I've got a bit overconfident. I'm not sort of stuck up enough to say no, it's the market, it's not me. I obviously got sort of caught maybe being a little bit overconfident. It's hard to say, really. Thomas Wade, naked chart, bar by bar. Yeah. In fact, to be honest with you, first thing I was hoping last night is Thomas Wade would do his chart. I like what Thomas Wade does because I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, Thomas Wade took that. Now, the frustrating thing is, genuinely, if that came down here, Mac would mark 100%. We got a strong downtrend. We got two little legs up. Bearish bar triggers that higher low there. You can see it triggers the higher low. It's just unfortunate it happened to have a break when it did, but I don't know. I couldn't really see many faults with it. Maybe it's quite bundled together. I don't know, but then you could short that. You could short that. Mac marked that one. I thought the signal bar was terrible, but we got a strong downtrend. So it's just, I don't know. I'm just feeling it a bit lately. I had a bit of a moan on the Facebook group the other day, and I don't know. We all have moments where things are, you feel great, and other moments where you're a bit frustrated. And I think I'm just letting it get to me a little bit. Yeah, it is. You're right, mate. Hindsight, it's easy, isn't it? But in real time, you're not quite sure where things are going to go. You just have to see what looks like a setup and take it. But the trouble is, the way Matt teaches you and the way he talks about price action is if it doesn't work, there's a reason. Whereas 99% of other traders and professional traders I've seen sometimes things just don't work. They take a trade, it doesn't always work. But the way Mac talks about price action trading is it's never wrong. And if a trade doesn't work, it's because you've misread it, not necessarily because it doesn't work. Now, I don't doubt for a second the more you've been doing this, the more you will notice little niggly bits that sometimes can not work. But I think that's what just annoys me sometimes about it. It's not Mac so much. It doesn't mean it. It's just me, how I'm taking it. It's my own fault, really. Maybe I've got to the stage where maybe I'm not humble enough. The trouble is when you start earning money, and I had 5 months in a row, I had really good months and I felt fantastic. And all of a sudden you struggle for a month and you get a little bit of a wobble, and then it happens again and you kind of feel like you're back to square one. I think it knocked me off my guard a little bit losing those accounts. I just had one little panic, moved me stop, and I ended up losing 5 or 6 accounts. This was a month and a half, 2 months ago. And it just got to me. And sometimes when that happens, you spend a bit of time fighting the market, which obviously never works. So we got a leg and a leg up here. If we can get a little break here, I may consider a short there. Just concentrate on, yeah, that's all you can kind of do, Sam, innit? But it's weird yesterday. I rarely take 2 trades, and I only took another trade on just one of my accounts, but it failed. I was quite surprised, but I'm just trying to focus now. 1 loss a day, and I'm done, or I move on to maybe an eval or something. because I still find it difficult to take losses. So I think the simple answer is, if I've taken a loss, the chance of me taking another one in the same session is probably a bit higher. So the best thing I think I can do is just take myself out of the equation, and I should solve the problem. Yeah, MMX. Yes, I mean that was a strong downtrend yesterday. There's no reason to believe that wouldn't work. It just, every time it got back to the EMA, and how many times have we heard Max say, if you just take a bearish bar right at the EMA, he said that loads of times, you could more or less take that one, every time it comes back to that EMA, and it doesn't look any better at the EMA there. There's no reason to suspect that wasn't going to continue down. But I don't know. The thing is, Mac, you never really hear. In fact, that's interesting. See if we get a lower high here. We've had a little breakout there, so see if we retest this and come down. You never hear Max say sometimes things don't work. He did a little bit more yesterday.
Order submitted.
So there is a possible lower high here. We got a channel with a break new high. We bounced strongly off that EMA, so I may have to look for a failure here. But the trouble is, Mac comes over as if it doesn't work, it's your fault. You didn't read the market right, when 99% of other professional traders I hear, they say some trades just don't work. I don't think I've heard many traders say that if a trade doesn't work, it's definitely your fault. It's not just because of the market. Now, if trading was a sure thing, it would always work. You would get to the stage where you would never lose a trade, and that just doesn't strike me as the case. So it's tempting that, but I thought I'll wait for a failure because we bounce and went straight up. It does look like it's coming down here, so see if we get a failure. The trade worked perfectly. Max system though, although I took a loser on it. Yeah, I mean it actually came down for 1.75 points, didn't it? So technically it worked. Drilled into your heads are very detrimental. I absolutely agree, bud. I absolutely agree. It does make you think that if a trade didn't work, it's your fault, as opposed to sometimes they just don't work. And if you listen to other traders, lots of traders talk about losses. Mac very rarely, it's a shame that didn't work. Mac rarely does. Which I know I moan about Mac a lot lately. I don't moan about him as a person. I think he's a nice guy, but I just think sometimes the way he teaches you. Now I've had a bit of experience, it can get inside your head a little bit and make you think that I mean, I go for 3 points and I struggle sometimes. I like to think how much damage it's going to do you mentally just scalping for a point. Yeah, Mac does make you think that trades will work if you read the market right, and I don't think it's the case. Possible failure here. Let's just see if this, I'm hoping it triggers this bull bar here. Let's see if it does. So we may get a failure here. Yeah, it mentioned detrimental. That's a good word, actually, because it does make you feel like a bit of a failure. I've done something wrong, as opposed to the fact that sometimes it just doesn't work. I don't think it's going to work, that, is it? I'd like to think it's going to come down here, but the trouble is we came up here and we didn't get down to the lows here, so there is a failure there, but I much prefer, well, do we have a go at it? I might do. Let's take
Order
it there,
submitted.
I think. Okay. Let's see if we can get something out of this. I'm guessing it's probably going to work its way down. Whether it comes down far or not, I don't know, so I may just take a bit of profit here. Or is it going to bounce? Just going to take something here.
Order
I don't
filled.
know whether it's going to come right the way down. So what did I get there? 260 odd. Okay. That's all right there. So I didn't mind that. There's a second entry long there which triggered, and that came down strong. So my guess is it's probably going to... Whether it gets down to these lows or not, I don't know. But there you go. Overshoot to the downside break. Final flag, last push down. Yeah, maybe. 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 So let me just look how Mac had it. I'm pretty sure he had it right from here, didn't he? So Mac had it there, didn't he? So, but the thing is, my trade was there, still within there. So we got a touch, that's it, because he had that corner missing. Touch, 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 working very strong down here. So that was the trade, still comfortably within this. And not only that, we're right, it came right to the bottom of the channel. Now, usually when we get a break of a channel, it's like this. It doesn't get to the bottom, which tells me it's losing a little bit of momentum. But that trade there, two clear little legs. We got 3 little bars up, then a pullback. We got 2 bars up, a pullback, 2 bars up, and a nice bearish bar, which triggered the higher low. Now, usually, if you're going to buy from the bottom, it won't work. So when you get a small bullish bar and then a second bullish bar that triggers and comes down, nearly every time it breaks below there. And if it breaks below there, let me make that a bit bigger. If it breaks below there, it's likely going to break below there. And that then would give you your points. If it breaks below there, it'll hit 3.2, which is where my trade would be. But it never got below that bull bar there. Now, you wouldn't expect buyers to be strong enough to prop this downtrend up enough to give it a break like this. But, you know, if that would have triggered, if that would have come down 10 or 20 points, I guarantee you Mac would have marked that. I guarantee it. Now, a trade's either a good setup enough to take it or it's not. So there's no way on God's earth, if that came down to here, Matt wouldn't mark that. Now, you either mark it as a good setup or you mark it or you don't mark it. You can't have it both ways. You can't say it's only a good setup if it works. That doesn't... No, you can't do that because it's confusing to people. And it does. It does confuse you. Yeah, I'm glad I got out there. Because we're struggling to get down here, which tells me we may be losing a bit of momentum, and we got so far down in reverse. So to accept that nothing is 100%. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? If you speak to professional traders, they talk a lot about losses that are part of the game, and it happens and you have to accept it. Whereas Mac talks about losses, which is very rare, that if you have a loss, it's because you've misread the price or you've done something wrong, not the fact that sometimes they don't work. And that sometimes you can get that stuck in your head that what have I done wrong and I'm frustrated, and that can make you act up on the market, and that it's detrimental because it can get you into a frustrated place where you take risks. I'm not blaming Mac. It's the way, you know, it's just the way it is. But you know, I've been following Mac now for 4 years, over 4 years, and I'm led to believe that if a trade doesn't work, there is a reason why. The fact that sometimes they don't work isn't a reason, and that's what I've kind of led to believe, and it can get into your mindset, damn it, I did something wrong, I'm frustrated, and you can act up on the market, and that isn't good for you. Sorry if I'm moaning a bit today, I don't want to annoy anybody. But, you know, some things you've got to talk about, and you've got to understand things. In the 2 minutes, the overshoot is clearly visible. Trouble is, we trade Mac's way, don't we, on the 2000 tick chart? But I think the trouble is, I've had it in my head for 4 years. If a trade doesn't work, it's my fault. And I've done something wrong. And when you think about it realistically, how many times have we heard the fact that sometimes price just doesn't work? But Mac never says that. The impression you get from Mac is that a trade will always work. Price action is never wrong. And it simply can't be. So I don't accept that, in my opinion. A lot of trades marked are pure junk because they don't go very far. Yeah. That we need to choose better overall trades. Yeah, I agree with that. For instance, this type of trade. Now, it's not a pat setup, but it's a penguin setup. But I like that. I went short there on one of my... In fact, tell a lie, I didn't go short there. I waited for it to push below the EMA. And that, to me, was going to work. And it did. I caught it about here, and it went more or less straight down, which tells me... Channel down, 2 attempts to push up. You may even argue there's more of a triple test there. But that is the type of trade that would work. Trades sometimes that are in a little bit of congestion but are readable, a lot of the times with these fast-moving charts, they overlap themselves. So what may have got you into a trade quickly comes down and stops you out. And it does that a lot. It comes up and down. This type of trade where you have 2 clear pushes up that fails, often then that's a relatively strong move down, and it doesn't really come back and pick it off the stop. It did here, but it had plenty of times where you could have took profit. So I agree. I think you've got to, the trade only goes for 4 to 10 ticks for me. It just wasn't a good trade. Yeah, I mean, what I will say is Mac only goes for 4 ticks, so a lot of his trades are probably based on 4 ticks, so... But for me, 4 ticks is a waste of time. I think you've got to be a seriously good trader with a great mindset, and you've got to do runners to make money off of 4 ticks. You really have. I think you're going to struggle for 4 ticks. I think, really, my personal opinion is the starting point is 2 points. But I like 2 to 3. I will say, there was a guy that posted trades based on 1 point, 2 point, 3 points and above, and the 3 points worked about 96% the time as opposed to the 100% the times that the trade went for a point. So it's a no-brainer to take 3 points for me. And it's very close to 1-to-1, so a loss is more or less corrected by a win, give or take. Darius, cheers lads, good luck today. Yeah, you take it easy, bud. A super sketchy to the EMA with 3 ticks room. Yeah, I think I've just been reminded lately that it's a tough business that doesn't necessarily get much easier. You just get kind of better at putting up with it a little bit. But I think we all have our moments, don't we, where we go through a little bit. It's like even in your normal job, sometimes, I don't know what jobs you guys or whether you trade full times. We all go through stages, I suppose, in life where we're pissed off with our job for whatever reason. It could be someone at work. Life is not smooth. It's not, life isn't full of roses all the time, is it? You get some times where, for whatever reason, life just gets you down a bit. And I think I've just hit that time over the last month and a half. I think I'm trying to sort of clear my mind a little bit. And got the room to the lows here. You need, yeah, it's a bit tough, isn't it, trading? I think sometimes we all get times where things get to us a little bit. I think I've just had a little bit of it lately. I think what frustrates me personally is after 4.5 years of trading, I still struggle with losses. I thought I'd have got that to grips a little bit more. Patience used to be my downfall. Now I think patience, I can sit here all day and not take a trade. Patience for me is really improved. I thought patience would be the one thing that I would struggle with the most in trading, and it's not. It's taken a loss. Yeah. How you doing, bud? Good morning to you. Made the money back I lost yesterday and then some. Good on you, mate. Took long just for the measured move. Yeah. I do have my days sometimes where I have a bit of a whinge. I figure you can just shut me off if you've had enough. were told losses were normal. Do you know what, mate? You're absolutely right. Mac has never really talked about losses. He mentioned them a little bit yesterday, but he must have so many emails, people talking about losses. I've never heard Mac say sometimes losses just happen. So when you're taught that losses are unacceptable unless it's your fault, no wonder when we take losses, we find them hard to stomach. It's just, you mentioned that. It's never really dawned on me that, and I think that's probably, I'm not saying I'm blaming Mac, but when you teach someone that if you have a losing trade, it's because of something you've done, not just because of the market, not just because it's sometimes price does that. But Mac does, he does come over that trades don't just fail for no reason. If that was the case, you would get to the stage, you would get that good where you would never lose money, and that doesn't really make much sense, does it? Losses are bad for business, yeah. I mean, the thing is, losses really, I think it was a mate of mine, trader buddy of mine, Nick Sesto, said to me maybe a year ago, it's just like a business expense. Now, I don't know if you were a trader, if you were a tradesman or something like a carpenter, and you had a van and the clutch went and you had to fork out $500 for a new clutch, you don't think about it, you just do it. Because it's part of business. There are expenses in business, and this is no different really, but it feels different. So yeah, I don't know, sometimes I know I moan a bit, but I think sometimes talking about things that are getting to you gets it out, doesn't it? And obviously you guys, some of you guys can relate, and you may feel the same way. So sometimes when you talk about it with other traders, because trading can be, I mean, I'm lucky in a sense because I have you guys to talk to, but you guys sit in a room and listen to me or listen to Nutty or listen to, and it can be quite a solitary business. And sometimes you feel like if something's going on, it's just happening to you. But when you talk about it to other people, you realise it's not just you. Everyone's kind of going through the same thing, and that helps you a little bit. You mentioned Scruffy Trader yesterday, very reasonable. Yes, and a really nice bloke. I've put a little advert on my screen for him. Now, I don't get any kickbacks. I pay the $45, about £45 a month. And the reason I put something on my screen, because I think he's a genuine guy. And I put something on there. He doesn't even know. I haven't told him. I don't want thanks for it. I just think he's a good guy. If you feel like trading something different, go and watch some of his videos and see what you think. But he trades the hourly. He marks off the monthly, the weekly, and the daily areas of support and resistance, and then he goes into the hourly and trades between areas of support and resistance, and it works really well. It's a little bit complicated setting it all up, but once you can do it, but he trades generally in the day, kind of 9:30, 8 o'clock UK time. And as you guys know, I tend to trade from about 1:32 in the afternoon, so I've got that little bit of time in the morning where I could just drop a trade in. I'm not trading money. I want to understand how it all works first before I even start thinking about trading stuff. But he's an honest guy, and he talks about, he's quite happy to make $50. He didn't talk about huge amounts of money. As soon as someone starts talking about tens of thousands, straight away your ears prick up and think, is it really that good? But he's a nice chap, actually. So if you fancy, he works with price levels, yeah. So he's been doing it for 20 years. I didn't realise how it's all obviously institutional driven. They tend to move from levels, but I suppose when you know how the institutions work, you kind of just follow what they're doing, really. But it makes sense, and it's amazing when he marks these, and then he zooms in how all these marks and these fib levels, how it really does respect the levels. I was quite surprised. It pulls back after 2 legs up. Yeah, it's the market does work in a general pattern. of repeating itself. Some days it's easy to read, others it's just kind of random and it's a bit all over the place, but you can see how market does move. We got 2 legs up there, 2 legs back. We got little leg there with a pullback up, but it is amazing how it does work. And it's just kind of understanding how it moves and trying to sort of capitalize on kind of a way in. The trouble is some days it's very readable and very predictable and setups can be really obvious. And other days setups aren't that obvious and the market can be a bit sneaky. And if you let the patience get the better of you and get into a setup that is a little bit uncertain, but you think, sometimes that's how it can catch you out. So the simple answer is really sit patiently and wait for something a little bit more obvious. It's difficult sometimes because when you sit here so long, you know, we all kind of want to make money. And sometimes you can be a little bit blinded by, is it a good setup? I think it is. I think it's, and sometimes it'll trigger you and stitch you up. You know, whereas other trades are a lot more obvious. I took a trade, I think it was Friday, a really nice setup actually. We had a triple test here, a strong bull bar and a really nice higher low, and it took off. It was nice and clear, that was. Alpine took another orb, lost today. Unfortunately for him, well, on the good side, he can have a lot of days where it works, but when he has a day that it doesn't work, it tends to cost him a hell of a lot of money, and I think he needs to try and work out a way of limiting those losses on bad days. Let me have a look. Yeah, he has a bit, hasn't he? He's actually lost a few accounts. Yeah, it's weird. You know, before that losing day, he must have had 10, 12 or more green days in a row, and his accounts were looking so healthy. And then all of a sudden he gets one bad day, and I think it was 72,000 he lost. We all have losing days, but I think that the trick is he's trying to find a way of minimizing those losses when they do happen. But yeah, he seems to have real success, and then all of a sudden he'll have one bad day and it'll hammer him. Yeah, doesn't he kind of go for a break up here and then, or however it works, and then he kind of flows with it or something. I don't know too much about those. I've tried to watch videos about those open range breakouts. There's quite a lot of them on YouTube, but I think it's probably got an edge. So we've got quite a nice looking channel down here, so I'd expect a break somewhere. So ideally a break up and test the top of this channel, hopefully push down. But one thing I am noticing is every time this thing comes down, look at that, it's getting a little bit higher and a little bit higher. Now that may indicate there is a channel up, but the top doesn't look super good, so it might just kind of be something but kind of nothing in a way. The top looks slightly different. It doesn't look as obvious. Or maybe there is, but a little overshoot. It's hard to say, really. Trouble is, sometimes it kind of looks sideways, and then other times, see, there is a lower high there. In fact, that's actually a failure there. But the trouble is, because it's bouncing off this, it may be a bit risky. It may be nothing. It may continue down, but because of this line is respecting this 4 times in a row now, I think shorting into it might be a bit risky. Sometimes it just works. It does come down, but it has triggered it, and it looks like it's trying to push up. It actually is a failure technically, but I'd still expect a second entry or at least 2 attempts to push hard before I decided to short that. But the fact that it is, excuse me a sec, I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. It's hard to know whether that would work, but the fact that it's bounced there so many times, you've got to be a little bit careful. Excuse me a sec. I'll lighten up in a sec. Right, so we got 2 doges after that, so you can't really go short there anyway. The fact that it works kind of irrelevant. It is 2 attempts to push up, but it's a bit stacked there, so you don't know whether it is going to respect this line and push up or it's going to come down. So, is there a channel up? And this is a break. What I will say is we are coming away from that bottom, so it is losing its downward momentum. So we've got a channel with a break and a new low. So just looking at some other channels. Yeah, see Marco had it earlier as a possible channel up. This thing's coming down, isn't it? So yeah, that's the trouble, see. Now look at that. So let's get rid of that. I mean, I didn't treat it as that. I just put those lines there just as a what if. There's no real setup there anyway. It's a bit congested. You got 2 dojis next to each other, so you never quite know what it's going to do. But I think for me, it's likely ruled out that. So what I may do is take that a bit higher. So we've had a break out the top. So my gut instinct is we're going to get one out the bottom here. So I would probably avoid the first, although we've got 2 legs down, I would probably avoid the first bullish bar if we get one until we get a breakout there. So there is a bullish bar, but it's not down low anyway, so I would avoid that just to give it a little bit of space. I think there's a good chance it may get into this area to kind of match that. So let's see if it does trigger and come down. It might not, because we have bounced a few times, but Usually when we get a break out the top, if this is a range, we'll get one the opposite side. Now, it doesn't mean we won't pull back a little bit first. Speedy, how you doing, my friend? Excuse me a sec. Yeah. Okay. So let's see what happens here. There's a higher low there. I'm still not convinced that this won't come down a little bit more because of this. We took any currency trade. I've took a few, mate, only on a sim. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I've just took a few on a sim, mate. I'm more just going through the modules at the moment, just fully understand. It's a bit complicated initially. Okay, so that higher low, I still had my sneaking suspicions that this is going to get into this little red, this little blue circle here now. It's triggered and came straight down, but then pushed back up. So, yeah, just on a sim, mate. Just kind of, just getting a feel for it, really. Trouble is, when you're a price action trader, that's what I've kind of been doing. You kind of see price action everywhere, as opposed to just. But I think any type of trading you learn is probably only going to help you. It's certainly not a bad skill learning price action, is it? So, but it is slow. It's so much slower, and I like that. You put a trade in and then you walk away and forget it. So there's no emotions. It's just you're in, you're out. Now, bearing in mind, I'm only trading a sim at the moment, but. I think it's good not to watch the charts really if you can put a trade in and forget it. But some of his trades last an hour, some last 3 hours. So the one thing is the trouble is with our style of trading, we're kind of glued to the charts for 3, 4, 5 hours a day. And when it's fast moving market and you're in a trade, there's a lot of emotions, and it can lead to impulsive trades and a bit of panic. And I know that from experience. So I kind of like the idea of slowing it down. I don't think everyone's suited to fast-moving scalping. I don't think I'm terrible at it, but I wouldn't say I'm a strong candidate for it either. So I still think that we're going to drop below here. Now, it is holding there, so it may hold, but my gut feeling is because of the break here, there is a bullish bar that's triggered, so I'll be surprised if this encourages buyers at this level. My gut feeling is it's probably going to flush before, and if you want to buy this market, below all this will be the best place to buy it. So I wouldn't even consider taking a long here. Because there's probably, I mean, it may work, but there is some bull bars there. So, but as I say, it may push up a bit and then come down. But my gut instinct is, with the break there, this is likely to come down here, which would clear out any possible liquidity down here. Not only that, there is a possibility of a bigger channel down. So the reason it might come back is not necessarily to push up to the top. It's just because there's a bigger channel, in which case we've got a break from it, and that still may come down. It may suck in longs here, thinking this is going to push up. I'm not saying it's not, and then push down, but it could work either way. Sometimes the more support there that it can't get down, often that does lead to a move up, but I'm certainly not ready to consider longs just yet, because if there is a larger channel down there, often we got to break. This may come down. You went long there for 4 points. Good on you, mate. I'm just not convinced this won't push below all this. And I never quite know how long it's going to go. Now, would I trade an apex evaluation? Hell yeah, I'd trade them blindfolded before. I've just gone long or short just for the fun of it, but I'm not convinced this isn't going to clear this out before it goes any higher. In fact, my second channel, it's looking just at that. Technically, by the count, that is a second entry short. Now, is it going to push below this, or is this strong enough to prop it up? I'm not ready to go long just yet, but you never know. What's Nutty doing? Okay, he's up a bit and down a bit. Overall, he's up. Bart's not back yet, is he? No. Okay, so T pushes up. It's hard to say really whether this is going to continue up. It's certainly struggling a little bit to get up. If it goes much higher, I think it will, but we do seem to be fine. Can you check if the gold futures looks normal for you? You're not sure? Not with just my side. What time frame you on, bud? I've got this at the 2000 tick chart. I'm guessing you're probably not using that, are you? What time frame you on, mate? So, yeah, we are finding a bit of support there. Whether it'll get through there or not, 15 bar range. There you go. How's that look for you? In fact, that's a trade I would have taken. Little breakout, little fail breakout. Fell breakout, channel break new, low, second entry long, fell breakout. Look at that, took off. It's easy when you can see what happened. Same there as well, move down, triple test. Sometimes when you pick a chart randomly, it looks really good. Look at that, congestion, congestion. First attempt to go higher, bearish bar, second attempt. That bar triggers above there, and look how that reacts. So move down, a little bit of congestion. We popped above this, and that's what took us down. There you go. How does that look for you anyway? You good? you can rewind this anyway, can't you? Watch it back if you need to. So 1, 2, 3. Is this a triple test? Is this going to come down and clear this out? It's hard to say. Oh, I think my Ninja Trader's frozen. You're welcome, mate. I think my Ninja Trader's frozen, I think. Bear me a sec. It's frozen. That's happening quite a bit as well, the news. Let me just close this down a sec. Not sure why why that does that. Okay, bear me a second. Let me just open this again. $76. Just check everything's opening.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
There. Yeah, happy days. Okay.
Order cancelled.
Does this sometimes freezes up? Not quite sure why. Okay. Right, Max got his up right at the top. Actually, he's got it there. And he's got the bottom down here, which is unusual. Got the bottom there, is that right? Yeah. Trouble is, how can you trade that as a range? Okay, so Dan's got that, and he's also got the small as well. That makes sense. Yeah, that's where I had it from. I think that looks better. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, so he's got that like that. So maybe that is that breakout from there. So that's okay. So, channel with a break and a new high. Little fail breakout of here. Well, a breakout, whether it's going to fail or not, who knows?
Order submitted.
Might wait for the lower high if we get one, just in case we get a bit higher. Okay, so channel break new high. I prefer to wait for the lower high. Trouble is, every time we get up here, we're closing at different levels, and that makes me nervous. So I'm just going to wait for the lower high as a safer option, just in case, because it may trigger and stop you out. You just never know. Sometimes these will work, sometimes they won't, but it's not my strong point. Looks like a range there. Yeah, it does. It may work, but you just never quite know. If we can get a lower higher, that's a better option. Let's just bring this down a bit. Yeah, see what I mean? Matt will say he loves range days. You short the top by the bottoms, but it's not that simple, is it? We get a channel with a break and a new high and a bearish bar. So, you know what I mean? Why wouldn't that work? We're up to this level. In fact, you may even take that up to there. In which case, it fits really nice. So why wouldn't you take that? That's the trouble, really. Sometimes on these range days, every time it hits the top or the bottom, it's turning a different place. That's the problem.
Order cancelled.
Okay, on this chart, it's a better setup, but I'm still not taking it. We got a little break, 1, 2 pushes up to a new high. So this may work, but I don't have much luck with shorting the tops and buying the bottoms. The only time I do is when we get a higher low, and we haven't had one yet, so I'm just sitting and waiting for that. Sometimes they're a bit hit and miss if you take them. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but they're not as reliable as kind of you tend to think, really. I think the better option is to wait, but we have got a channel with a break, 1, 2 pushes to a new high. We've got an inside bar on here, so we can't take that. We have a chart. It actually doesn't look that bad. We've had 2 pushes, but is this going to come down? Look, we're already pushing up. So you can't really I'll tell you who trades those a lot, and who gets battered with them. Oh, damn it, what account am I? 76. The lower high is triggered. But look, it's moving up. So I'm quite glad I had a sim in there and I couldn't take a trade there, because I may well have had a go at that. But there is a possible lower high here, I don't know. Trouble is, Mac talks about, range days. They're easy, short the top. You shorted that, it didn't work. If you shorted that, not that you would anyway, it might not work. So it's not always that simple. So if you took the lower high there, it triggered you. It hasn't stopped you out yet. It may hold, but my gut feeling is it's likely going to take out that. But there might be a failure here, but I'll be surprised if it doesn't clip above that lower high. Channel break, 2 pushes to a new high, bearish bar, lower high. It's a trade I'm sure a lot of traders will take. In fact, I wouldn't be sure if Dan takes that. It may hold. But that's kind of the trade that Dan generally would take, I think. Channel up, break, 2 pushes to a new high, lower high, plenty of room back to the EMA. bound to be traders in that short. Bound to be. Sometimes it does hold. I'll be surprised. No, it's just broken above it. So, see, that is the type of trade that Dan would take. Channel break, 2 pushes to a new high, lower high, short back to the EMA. But that's on my second chart. We didn't get it on here, so I'm guessing he wouldn't have done. Take profit trader. Yes, mate, that's what I'm doing now. These are take profit trader accounts. I've got 4 of them. I got 4 of them on the go, so yeah, you can. I've got 4 of those and 5 Traderfy accounts. I can't trade the Traderfy accounts at the moment. Well, I can't copy them for some reason. I had that same problem last week. I ended up resetting my Guardian Angel Trader. I must have selected something there that stopped me from trading them all together. So at least I'm up a bit on my take profit trader evals anyway, so that's something. See, I'm on their evaluations stroke live account. So I think there's 40% off at the moment, which makes them $102. So you start on an evaluation, and if you pass, you go straight onto a PA and you don't pay nothing else. And also, if you get to a payment, they actually refund your cost, your $102 back in your first payment. So I think they're quite a good deal at the moment. $102, that's if you pass it. If you fail it, it's an expensive evaluation. So I certainly treat these with a little bit more respect than I would an 80% or 90% off Apex, because it's obviously costing a little bit more money. It's about £75 UK, whereas an evaluation with Apex at the moment is about £25. So they're 3 times the price. So you've got to be a little bit more careful. No, they don't do straight to. Well, it's not straight to funded. You still have to do an evaluation period where you got to hit $3,000. But if you pass it, you don't pay anything else. There's no PA fee. You just go straight onto your PA account. So if you take the evaluation and you pass it, it only costs you a total $102, but then you get that back within your first payment. Obviously, that's assuming you get to a payment. Allow you to take a. You have to hit a $2,000 buffer. Now, if you get above, there's no consistency rule. So if you get to $2,500 in one day, yes, you can take out $500. You have to keep, I believe, 2,000 in there. So yeah, I mean, if you happen to hit a big runner on day one and you got your PA account up to $2,500 or $3,000, yeah, you could take anything above that. So that's when they talk about you can effectively get a payment from day one. I don't suggest it's the easiest thing to do, but so we got a break, 2 pushes up here. So there is a lower high here. So is this going to come down? There's a bull bar trap there. So I'm guessing it may do, but, or is there a larger channel up? I'm not sure about that. 102 per month. Yes, it is. Now, that's if you pass it in a month. Otherwise, they will charge you again. Same with Apex. If you take it and pass it, but you'd assume you'd pass it in a month. But if you buy it and you pass it, it's a good deal. And especially when you get to your first payment, they pay you it back. back as well, so you get your $102 back. If you do it, I've got a code or a link on there, so you get the 40% off. I've got it on there somewhere. As you know, I get a little kickback, but it doesn't cost you anything, so they're a good deal. Now, if you're a newer trader doing evaluations and stuff, just learning, I wouldn't do one. I wouldn't spend your money and do that.
Order filled.
Just to the EMA. We've had a bounce off there, so I'm just going to pop that there.
Order
Oh,
filled.
you bugger. Okay, I got a bit out of it anyway. It got to the EMA, but I just missed it. I should have gotten a bit earlier, so it did work for, I think I got $100 or something on that. So it's worth taking. No, really. Yeah, it's a good deal. Yeah, someone else took the lower high as well. It didn't go that far, to be honest with you. That's why I just got it in for us. Well, I ended up getting a couple of ticks or something off it, didn't I? Or whatever. I don't know. I can't remember what I got, but it didn't go far. But I expected to get back to the EMA. So what did it go for? Not much. I got in a little bit earlier. I got out about the side. Probably got, I don't know, a few ticks, no, I probably got a few ticks. But on 3 contracts, $75, I think, something like that. Yeah, it's better than a kick in the teeth. Let's see if we get a failure here. Trouble is, we're above that EMA, so there is a second entry long there, but as we've kind of got above this, I will be inclined just to not take a second entry long, just in case this comes down. It looks like it's going to. I'm tempted just to take that,
filled.
just to stop that bar out. Now, bearing in mind these are... Shit. So I'm going to put that down to there. That's a bit of a risk, that is. I'm just interested in stopping that bar out. It's a bit risky, this, but it's not my live account. But all I'm interested in stopping that bar out. But there's $187 if it stops that bar out. And it looks like it's going to. Or it was looking like it. It's maybe not so much now, but... I may have to take a bit of a loss here. See what happens.
Order
Taking
filled.
a bit of a loss here. I thought that was going to stop that out. It got very close. But it is working up. See, that's the trouble. Mac will talk about a range day, short the tops. If you'd have short that, came back to the EMA and pushed up. So I didn't think that second entry long would work. When it broke off and came down, I jumped in here. It was $186 just to stop below that. But it didn't work, so I got out with a few $100 loss. Time is it? No, yeah, you don't want to be gambling. I'm doing 3 contracts. My Apex accounts, I'll be doing 10. I don't trade these silly, Apex. I might have made me stop there, but I ended up getting out for a $300 loss. I thought that was going to work though, because we had a second entry long which triggered and started to move back. So I wouldn't want to go long because we've had a channel with a break, 2 pushes to a new high and a lower high. So my gut feeling was this was going to come back and maybe test this, which is why I got in there for a quick $186 stop, but it didn't work. So good thing is as well is there's an end of day drawdown. So I was up $300. Now I'm down 75. So that doesn't make a difference. You're on the eval. It's an end of day drawdown. So if you do make a bit and lose it, doesn't affect your drawdown. So Dan says he took the triple test long. I wasn't sure about that because we're at the top of a range, or very close to it, so I didn't really want to go long there just in case. That's the trouble. When Apex and Bullanox and all that are so cheap, the tendency is to take a risk. Now, I decided, I thought that's going to go up there, so I jumped out and took a $300 loss instead of a bigger loss because I realised it wasn't going nowhere. Now, with an evaluation costing me $20 odd, I'd have probably moved me stop. The trouble is, when something's cheap, the tendency is to take a risk with it. Yeah, so Dan took a trade there. Trouble is, I'm thinking we're coming to the top of this range or this breakout, so that's the trouble, isn't it? That's why I'm trading more with the take profit trader ones, because you respect them a little bit more. Trouble is, when something's cheap, it can get you into bad habits, taking risks. Yeah, I just, because there's some, it's hard to know where the top of this range is in here. The trouble is, if there's a range here, going long in towards the potential top of it made me a bit nervous. We got out of this range, pull back in. We're out of this range. You don't know whether it's going to pull back in, and that's what made me kind of do the opposite. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there for today, folks. I've done an hour and a half. I'm going to go and have a little bit of lunch. And then I may come back later. I'm not trading my TraderFi accounts today. I can't copy trade them for some reason, so I'm just trading these take profit trader evals. So I'll leave you guys to it. So best of luck if you're carrying on trading. I hope you get a setup. But it is moving a little bit and it's not spending too much time congested. So hopefully you may get a setup. So I'll leave you guys to it. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great evening. Stay safe and we'll catch up tomorrow. Bye for now.